Today we're diving into the secrets of the farm. But first, can you tell me how to get there? However, this gentleman hesitated and decided not to pull out his gun. Who interrupts their plans like that? There was an eerie vibe all around when suddenly a little boy appeared, as if playing hide and seek. Realizing he was in trouble, the boy dashed into the house, but being a kid, he ended up in handcuffs. A twist where the ever didn't see that coming moment. After being sent back to the police station, he sat next to a payer who was drumming on his thigh with the ruler talk about a mini percussion band. But the demon from his memories, much like the farm owner, had purchased a train ticket to escape Los Angeles, while the boy was set to be before he was sent away. He couldn't contain his inner turmoil any longer and requested to have a chat with the officer who caught him. He said he had something super important to tell him. While far away in the mental hospital, Christine was hoping to share some secrets with the other patients. But the next day at lunch, a fellow patient informed Christine that most new arrivals had crossed paths with the 12 police CX. The 12 refers to those sent directly from the precinct. To recruitment process that sounds downright terrifying. Just by annoying the cops, you get sent here, say you have hallucinations, and guess what? You're classified as not normal. If you keep persisting, the outcome could be like this rich guy who ends up losing his sanity from trauma. Christine desperately wanted to meet with the director, meanwhile facing a mother who had suffered humiliation while trying to tell her story. The response was simple: you give in, or you go to jail. It's like earning a badge of crazy achievement. Noticing Christine's resistance, the director figured it would be best not to send his staff to medicate her. After breaking free, Christine rushed over to the director and shouted, "I don't have a mental illness, I don't need treatment." Under such relentless tyranny and unbridled bullying, Christine could only vent his frustrations through anger, which didn't help, as staff forcibly dragged him away, like a cat being kicked out. A fellow patient rushed in to help. Didn't he realize how weak he was? He knew too well that this act of rebellion wouldn't save Christine and could land him in hot water too. That if everyone chooses to swallow their anger, the only outcome would be more boldness from those in power. It's like a dark cycle. That patient was assigned to room 18, where the staff used various methods for inhumane torment. The pitiful screams and contorted bodies were heart-wrenching, but thankfully he made it through. Christine rushed over to visit him, and the patient had no regrets. What he did was not just for Christine, but for himself. The boy about to be deported finally faced the officer who caught him, and what he was about to say was world-shattering. Because he didn't want to go to hell, he decided to confess. His cousin Gordon had brought him to this farm, and their job was nothing less than murder. Gordon drove around with his brother hunting for targets, and guess who had a face sponsored by Fat? Those kids saw a pea inside the car and naturally dropped their guard, making it easy for Gordon to lure them inside. And they all ended up at the farm. Look out, the backseat of that car was super mysterious. Sometimes, Gordon would axe the newly caught kids right then and there. It was an efficient and tear-inducing job, and Gordon would intentionally leave them breathing so his brother could finish them off. Now that's what I call teamwork. In extreme fear, the little brother became a mini assassin, killing more than 20 kids in total. Haunted by nightmares, it pushed him to reveal the truth, leaving the officers gasping for air. What an incredulously terrifying tale. These revelations left the officers feeling cold, partly due to this chassis killer's brutality, and partly due to the precinct's inaction. Missing kids weren't taken seriously, which led to this horrific incident. Officers pulled out photos of all the abducted children. They wanted him to identify them, and his jaw dropped. Those missing kids hadn't been abducted to another place. Instead, most had perished at that farm. The heart-wrenching news. Considering the gravity of the matter, officers dared not brush it off like before. The tension was palpable. Under immense psychological strain, the boy began digging in the grave pit and soon found a shoe. And beneath it lay a skeletal body. Goodbye to the poor soul who'd be missed forever. The officers kicked off lockdown and evidence collection. Meanwhile, the pastor stormed into the precinct. Christine had vanished since being taken. Tune in for this missing person drama. Surprisingly, Jones bluntly stated she had been sent to a mental hospital, where nurses were still forcing her to sign. How absurd. Seeing the director's ugly face, Christine wished he would disappear right then. Unsurprisingly, he refused to relent and mercilessly shipped her off to room 18. Ready for the painful foundation, when suddenly the pastor stormed into the hospital with reports of corpse cases, finally halting the torturous plans. The director knew too well the farm corpse case was out in the open. Whether Christine's kid was among them, he couldn't say, but the precinct was in deep trouble. Hence, letting Christine go was the best decision they could make. Unbeknownst to her, Christine was released, as the outside world was buzzing with news talk about a media storm. Meanwhile, the sheriff and Jones were still plotting, saying if Christine's child was murdered, the public would shift their focus from the precinct's missing kids to the twisted killer. Now that's a savvy distraction tactic. Back then, the technology couldn't accurately determine a deceased's identity from bones, so aside from the killer's admissions from photos, there weren't any better methods.